Hello everyone, welcome to Viti Pakshala. Good morning to all of you. So today we are starting our class. Ninth class we are starting today, and hopefully it would be completed by tomorrow. I hope I am audible to all of you. Okay. Let's start the class and we have done these things once in the 6 to the 8. एक बार हम इन चीज़ों को कर चुके हैं 6 से लेके 8th क्लास के बीच में. आज हम जो है इसको दोबारा करने वाले हैं. We are going to do these things again here in this class. So again we would be going to start from the prehistoric period. Now the first chapter in the ninth class is the evolution of the human society, the prehistoric period. Evaluation of the humans and the society, that is the prehistoric period, that we would be going to study in this class. Now what would be our learning objective? What we would be going to learn in this chapter is the world's early history, to understand the human evolution and to understand the Tamilagam up to the age of the Iron Age. Now let's start. We live in the age of the information technology. The mobile phones have literally put the world on our fingertips. The all-encompassing the knowledge that we possess now, which has been in the development of powerful technology. Now, did not all emerge of the sudden. Now, the foundation of our modern life was facilitated by the development of the progress of the cognition among the human ancestors in the prehistoric period. So, in the introduction, it talks about like the everything that has happened to the modern time. It took time और धीरे धीरे जो है चीजें बदलती रही. Prehistoric period were the pioneers of the creative knowledge. From the artifacts to and the languages they developed, we are able to understand how intelligent they were. The first topic is here the origin of the earth and the geological ages. The history of the human is closely related to the history of the earth. अगर हम history of humans की बात करें तो related है history of the earth से. The earth contains the geological, archaeological and biological records of the historical times and its upper layer, so that we study in the geography. Now they are important for reconstructing the history of the earth and various living organisms. The fossils, bones of the human ancestors are embedded in the earth's layer. Now, paleoanthropologists and the archaeologists excavate the soil and rock layers on the earth and extract the evidence about the humans' ancestors. So they are talking about that the paleoanthropologist. So you will see that this is the anthropologist. So this anthropology is the study of our human past. So study of the human being, it is a subject that is also a part of the UPSC optional syllabus. So anthropology, they study the evolution of the human being. So paleo means the old. Paleo means old, and old anthropologist and archaeologist, they excavate the soil and the rock layers and they study the human evolution. These layers and the fossils are scientifically dated to the study the various stages in the human evolution and the prehistory. Through the gathered evidence, they attempt to understand the evaluation of the human history and the development in an chronological order. Now, what is archaeology? Archaeology is the study of the human past through the analysis and the interpretation of the material remains. Next comes is the paleoanthropology. It is the study of the human ancestors and their evaluation by the स्टडी ऑफ द फॉसिल फ्यूल्स. जो रिमेन बच गई, जो चीज़ें बच गई थी, उनको पढ़कर हिस्ट्री का अंदाज़ा लगाना, उसको पैलियो एंथ्रोपोलॉजी कहा गया है. एंड द पर्सन हु डज इट इज कॉल्ड एज द पैलियो एंथ्रोपोलॉजिस्ट. The earth was formed approximately 4.54 billion years ago. Gradually conditions emerged for the growth of the organism. Then the plant and the animals came into the being, and thereby the foundation was laid for the evolution of the humans. The long span of the time in the history of the earth is divided into the eras, periods, epochs and by the geologist. So जब हम जियोग्राफी पढ़ते हैं, और मैंने आपको कराया भी है जियोग्राफी में कि जियोग्राफी में एरा आती है, then it comes as the period comes, then epoch comes, and these I have done in the detail in the geography. So 1 billion equal to the 100 crore and 1 million equal to the 10 lakh. Now Australopithecines, these were the apes from which the human have evolved. So the Australopithecines were the apes from which the modern human being have been evolved. Now they are extinct, but they are considered to be the close relatives of the humans. Now they have shown you a beautiful chart how the human has been developed. So from the Proterozoic era to the Paleozoic era to the Mesozoic era and to the Cenozoic era. So from a primitive multicellular form appeared to the fish, reptile, plant appeared, then the dinosaur existed, and then literally the southern ape it appeared. Now human inquiries into the past and the origin of the world. So first comes is the age of the speculation. So the human are the only species on the earth concerned with the understanding as well as explaining the world and the universe. So it is the human who is the species which is capable to understand as well as explain the world and the universe. Now in course of the evolution of the human became the conscious and the knowledgeable. They turned curious and began to think and they ask question about the nature, the organism and the world around them. At first they considered the nature as the god, and that you found in the form of the animism, and they started worshipping the god and the nature. They worshipped the sun, moon, various natural forces about which they developed their own understanding, some of which was not scientific. The lack of the scientific knowledge on the creation of the world is reflected in the ancient writings and the literature. Now you will heard these names again and again, BC and the AD. BC means the before the common era, and the AD means the after the common era or any domain. So next comes is the scientific foundation of the geology, biology and archaeology. The beginning of the history writing can be traced to the ancient Greece or the ancient Greek. Herodotus is considered as the father of the history. So remember, who is the father of the history? Herodotus is considered as the father of the history because the history he wrote was humanistic and rationalistic. The rise of the scientific inquiry into the origin of the human was possible because of the following things. Now these are: number one, the interest in the collection of the archaeological remains and the opening of the museums after the Renaissance movement, the development of the ideas of the stratigraphy and the geology, the Darwin's theory of the biological evolution, the discovery of the human and the animal fossil stones tools and the artifacts and the early civilization, the ability to decipher the early script, all these things, rise of the scientific shows that the scientific inquiry it rose and the origin of the human was possible. Now, what is the word that stratigraphy means? Stratigraphy means that the study of the origin, the nature and the relationship of the rock and soil layers that were formed due to the natural and the cultural activity. What does stratigraphy means? It means origin, nature, and what is the relationship of rocks and the soil layers that were formed due to the natural and cultural activities. The oldest museum, the Museum of the Enigaldi Nana in the Mesopotamia, was established in 530 BC. The princess Enigaldi was the daughter of the Neo-Babylonian king Nabonidus. The Capitoline Museum in the Italy is perhaps the oldest surviving museum. So the Capitoline Museum, which is in the Italy, is the oldest surviving museum at present. Asmolean Museum at the Oxford University is the oldest university museum in the world. It was established in the 1677 AD. Herbert Spencer, The Biological Evolution, and the Charles Darwin's The Theory of the Concept of the Natural Selection and the Survival of the Fittest contributed to the scientific underpinning of the human origin. Charles Darwin published the book On the Origin of the Species in the 1859 and The Descent of the Man in the 1871. Now, natural selection. What is natural selection? The process by which the organism that are better adapted to their environment would survive and produce more offspring is the natural selection. What is the survival of the fittest? Survival of the fittest means the survival of the forms that will leave the most copies of the itself in the successive generation. That is the survival of the fittest. Fossil, prehistoric animal or the plant that turns into the stone over a period of the time, millions of years, because of the chemical and the physical processes. Animal bones are preserved due to the mineralization. Paleontology is the study of the fossils. So remember this, that the paleontology, ontology plus paleo. Paleo means old and the study, onto means the study of the fossils. So it is the study of the fossils, paleontology. Stone Age, the period when the stone was mainly used for making implements, is the Stone Age. Then comes is the Bronze Age, the period when the Stone Age. Early in the Indian history also we study the first comes is the Stone Age. Then comes your Bronze Age. Bronze is the period when bronze, that is the metallurgy, extraction of the metal from ores, it developed. Iron Age is the period when the iron was smelted to produce the implements. Now, since the 19th century, scholars have used the advanced scientific techniques. They undertook the systematic studies to contribute to the current state of knowledge on prehistory, human origins, and the early civilization. Now, the theory of the human evolution is widely accepted. Now, prehistory from Australopithecus through the Homo erectus to the Homo sapiens. Now, who are we? What is the name of our species? We are Homo sapiens. Human evaluation and the migration. The chimpanzee, gorillas, orangutans, all along with the humans are collectively called as the great apes. Among them, the chimpanzee is the genetically the closest to the humans. The ancestors to the human were called as the homins, and their origin have been traced in the Africa. They evolved from those origins and then began to move to the other parts of the world in due course of the time. The homins emerged around the 7 to the 5 million years ago. Skeletons of the Australopithecus, one of the early species of this tribe, have been found in the Africa. The Great Rift Valley in the Africa has many sites that have evidence for the prehistoric period. You all must know that the DNA of the chimpanzee is 98% identical to that of the human being. The Great Rift Valley is a valley-like formation that runs for around 6,400 kilometers from the northern part of the Syria to the central Mozambique in the East Africa. The geographical feature is visible even from the space, and many prehistoric sites are found in the Eastern Africa. Human ancestors are divided into the various species according to their physical features. Beautifully given, but it is not important. Why we are studying? I'm thinking about that now. Is this about the? This is not important. I think that this is we are not doing the history optional now. We have to study the history for only for the. So these all are the world history. I think this book relates to the world history. Where in the mains? This is all about the world history. It will come, but it is about the world. It is talking about the general thing that you have to study in the. That is talking about the lower middle upper Paleolithic. They are talking about the general things they are talking. The second chapter is also not important. It is talking about the ancient civilization, so we do not have to go into the detail of the ancient civilizations. The ancient civilization, I show the topic, they are talking about the Chinese civilization. You see now the first chapter, it is not concerned with me now. That's why I didn't see the book early now. So it is all about the anthropology, the subject that we are studying, how the human evolved. So then they are talking about the earliest lithic assemblage of the human ancestor. It is not talking about the India. It is talking about the how the what were the things. It is more concerned about the world. So in the beginning of the chapter, I did not study that it is about the world. So it talks about here to trace the world early history. So here the world early history is mentioned. So world early history is not a part of India in our syllabus, na? No, you are not seeing, na? It is not first two pages. Like see that they are talking about the Africa, how the human have been evolved. Then later Paleolithic, what were the Acheuleans, what they were the hand tools. Then they are talking about the which are found in the Africa, Asia, Europe. Then they are talking about the Acheulean bifaces. So these are the tool types. If you are a student of a history optional, then you have to study, na? R.S. Sharma. Instead of this, if we will go to the 11th, let me open the 11th book. Let me open the 11th book. You will see that 11th is more important. That you are talking about the things now, they are in 11th class, sir. I have seen they are talking about the world. Let me show you the 11th class one. 11th class term second. First term. And it will not come from the world. World ancient history is given. World ancient history is not given, na? I think main part we have done earlier, right, sir? No, it is available in the 11th, na? So I have opened the 11th class. So see this. Or you will ask me, I can do it, but it is of no use, na? We are in an exam mode and we have to do those things which are useful for us. The things which will not appear in the exam are not, should be our concern. Now these are the prehistoric India. The period before the development of the script is called prehistoric period. Now lithic, your lower Paleolithic culture, middle Paleolithic culture. So this is the book that we are concerned about, middle Paleolithic, upper Paleolithic. Now this comes as the lower Paleolithic culture they are talking. This we have to do. Lithic tools are given. Then distribution, hominid and the animal fossils. Then the chronology. This one is important. The way of the life, industries and the tools. Then comes your upper Paleolithic, Raja, which you are talking about. It is in the 11th class. That is about the world history. Ninth class is about the world history and it is talking about the world history of the, and the second chapter I saw that it is about the Chinese civilization, Mesopotamia civilization. We don't have to study them. So in the 11th class we would be going to study these things in detail. This Onki given in the 9th also, sir. You are not understanding. Na? 9th is about world history and our syllabus is not about the world history. I can't misguide you all. ना अगर मैं आपको पढ़ा दूँ यूज ना हो उसका. Not all chapters, only second and the third chapters. All chapters are there, na? Let me show you. I have not seen this book earlier, na? The problem is that, na? Yes, we don't want world history. We have to do the world history, and this is also not a part of that world history. सर इससे रिगार्डिंग मेंस में भी नहीं आएगा। मेंस मैं सिलेबस देख लेता हूँ ना एक बार, आपको भी सिलेबस दिखा देता हूँ एक बार। यूनिट 4 सोशल अवेकनिंग सर। social awakening of the world it is talking. We will talk about that. We will have a conversation. Let me join you. You are three people na net. Let me join you with the Google Meet, and there we can discuss these things.